Views expressed are those of the hosts and others featured in this podcast. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any companies hosting or distributing the recording of this podcast, the management and staffs, or those who advertise their products and services to their audience. So, let's do this, shall we?
Welcome to the Radio Dawn podcast. I am the aforementioned. Welcome. Get the usual things out of the way. If you want to follow me, I basically made it a little simpler for you to do that. We're still building the proper website, but I can direct you to my link tree in a, more followable way, and that would be to give you my bit.ly, which is bit.ly /Radio Dawn links, RADIODONLINKS, and you can go through all my links up there, all my socials, some of the more recent things we found. We have a store there. If you can support us, you can go there and take advantage of certain things. I am a Amazon affiliate, also affiliate of a few other things, like a really great VPN, which a lot of people are probably going to start using by the time this podcast gets to your ears. You can also support us directly by going to one of our various and sundry ways to send money. PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. It's all Radio Dawn. It's all Radio Dawn, except two are ats and one is $sign. I think you can figure out which one that is. I also would like to direct you to my Substack, which I'm going to be starting to use more frequently. Substack is where I do printed vlogs. Sometimes these podcasts show up there, and hopefully we'll have enough of a following that we can actually provide premium services like secret podcasts, where I can get to say more than I can say here and on all the other places. You can go there by going to radiodon.substack.com. That's radiodon.substack.com. Now a little production music, and then we'll start the program. By now you probably know, by the time this gets to you, the app TikTok would have been shut down and become non-operational, at least for now. As we are recording this on Saturday, January 18th, the app is supposed to go dark on the 19th, 24 hours before the inauguration. That one fact is one of the things that just sticks to me. Like, here is this band to protect us from having our data being sent to the Chinese government, as opposed to all the other shady governments that are out there. Many of those are supposedly democracies that we are supposedly friendly with. Although based on what's going to happen on the 20th at noon Eastern Time, I don't know how many friendly countries we're going to have anymore. But having said that, I will get to my feelings about this whole thing. But I would like to welcome those TikTok refugees who have found their way to my YouTube page. I hope you enjoy your stay. I hope I don't freak you out too much. And I just want to let you know what you're getting into. Yes, this particular application is owned by the biggest company in the world, and sometimes it acts like it. We have advertisers, many more advertisers than TikTok ever had. And just like most corporations or most companies, we try to keep the customer satisfied, you might say. However, there's a little bit more freedom here. For instance, you will have a chance to say words again. No more saying unaliving when you mean shoot or kill. Trying to keep from being shadow banned or dinged or whatever it is has become quite the exercise in dancing barefoot across jagged glass. And that's one of the very few things I'm going to miss about YouTube. The constant, sounding like a 2-year-old trying to discuss something that is an adult thing, that is a grown-up thing, that grown-ups should have a way to understand what's going on, and something that doesn't make you sound like you're trying out for romper room or something like that. Now, exactly how much of this you'll be able to say, I don't know. YouTube's content monitoring department is about as notorious as everybody else's. Even the new fangled app that's supposed to come out later this year, I should say, Neptune, they're going to have content monitoring people. So, more jagged glass. There are a couple of features that you should know about. We do have shorts on YouTube. They're kind of like TikToks. They used to be 60 seconds, but we found out that there are some people like myself who talk a lot. And you just can't get all of that into 60 seconds. Even though I was in radio at one time and I could probably write a script that could fit anything into 60 seconds and talk really fast, which I can't do anymore since the stroke. So it's been expanded to 30 to 3 minutes. I should say 3 minutes maximum for any shorts that you do. There are ways you can use other people's stuff. One of the ways you can do that is you can put a link to that and put it within your regular TikTok, and you can tell people, here's what I'm talking about. Go to this link. You can also put links in the community tab. The community tab is something that a lot of creators do not use outside of maybe telling people that, oh, we have a live coming up. But if you're going to use YouTube, to its fullest extent, I would suggest you create a robust community tab thingy. That way you can actually, type out words and stuff like that. Put links in things like that. You can basically, write stuff on the fly. Of course, you can also videotape stuff on the fly. We have lives, but I think that everyone can do a live, but I would check the YouTube rules, especially if you're new. There's not a lot of the things that you're probably used to on TikTok, like filters that are supposed to make you more beautiful than you already are. That's the one thing that drives me crazy. I know people who have done lives who are incredibly, incredibly beautiful. 2 of them are on this platform and they know who they are and they are incredibly beautiful. You don't need the filter. We don't have that right now, from what I understand, but I'm sure they're going to be working on that because we are so insecure. But basically, that's the main stuff. You do have social media's largest video circulation here, so you probably have a better chance of being seen here by more people. However, with the more intimate setting we had at TikTok, maybe that's not the case. I would say give it a go. Don't worry about whether you're perfect or not. Don't worry about whether you're going to get 1,000 people. Right now, I've got over 2,000 subscribers. They're all based on one video. And my voice ain't on it. But you never know what will happen. My suggestion is just jump into it. Follow as many good people as you can. And do this on a regular basis. I'm going to start doing that now that I don't have to do TikToks on a daily basis. But that's basically my introduction to you. A really bad introduction, but an introduction nonetheless to YouTube. And after this, my feelings on the whole matter. So in terms of the TikTok ban, we still don't know a lot. We don't know if the app is totally dead. They're just going to put it on ice for however long it's going to take. ByteDance has indicated they are not going to be selling the algorithm for the app. I mean, they'll probably sell the intellectual property for $20 billion cash. That's how much the people's bid for TikTok, headed by Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank and the guy who almost ruined the LA Dodgers. That's the one part of that story nobody has mentioned. They're saying Frank McCourt's just a great humanitarian, he's a great Democrat, which is all those things are positive, but I am basically looking at that as opposed to what he and his wife Jamie did to the greatest baseball team that ever existed. I'm sorry, New York, that's the case. It is. That's why Brooklyn continues to cry. We called them Frank and Jamie back in the day because the two of them were just one monster eating up the finances of the Dodgers. They used the team as their personal ATM until they basically almost wiped the Dodgers off the map in terms of finances. I mean, what a difference several years make. The Dodgers today are the champions of baseball once again, deservedly. But this is the same Frank McCourt who wants to buy TikTok for, I guess, his share of $20 billion cash. We don't know where that is standing. Mr. Wonderful is going to be sitting with Zuck and Elon. That is a motley crew if there ever was one. During the inauguration on Monday. So the future of TikTok is still up in the air. And the CEO of TikTok has basically said that TikTok is going to exist in some way, shape, or form. We just don't know what. There are also other ancillary apps that are owned by ByteDance, but they can also be separate. For instance, there is a sort of like an Instagram-y app called Lemon8. You probably have heard of that. And though it is a separate app from TikTok, people have been moving their TikTok stuff all over to the Lemon8 app. We don't know if that app is going away on Sunday. Also, what I consider to be the best video editing app available to the average person, CapCut, is also owned by ByteDance. It could disappear on Sunday. And that would mean a really big learning curve for me trying to use, shall we say, inferior editing apps. YouTube's trying with YouTube Create, and they're trying. But then again, and there's been a lot of crying and gnashing of teeth over this. I'm going to lose many friends because there is no other place where people go. People will either not do social media or they'll go to other places but just not tell anybody because they're afraid that somebody might stalk them. And one of these days I'm going to have to ask people, why are you on social media at all? Most people who are on social media basically are lurkers. They do not participate. They are just reading through stuff. They scroll, and they seldom stop in any one place. I thought the social media part of all this was to be social, to make friends, to make connections and stuff like that. I guess. As for the ruling itself, let's face it, this thing is supposed to go away the day before the inauguration of whoever was going to be president on the 20th of January. And this was something that was signed by the man who thought he was going to be the president at that time. But now 45 is about to become 47. And I do wear my tinfoil hat very tightly, I must say. You start seeing things where people keep telling you, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's all coincidence. TikTok goes away and we have a new president the next day. There is no coincidence whatsoever. Be chill. Do a cat video, which is basically what they want us to do anyway. If we stuck with doing cat videos and taste tests and maybe talk about electric cars from countries that you probably hate, which is why the app is going away anyway, maybe we would not be in the situation where we are in. But here we are. But the thing is, in my opinion, TikTok is low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit. They're already coming after the Meta platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Threads. There's several ways they're doing it. Brainwashing Zuck to turn into a mini MAGA is one. That means that people are fleeing those platforms because of that. Then, of course, they're going to be using your children, because these platforms are a threat to children, neglecting the fact that the biggest threat to the children are any public or private school in America, and in some cases, any parent in America. I'll let you think about that one for a second. And of course, Meta is too big and we need to break it up and trust it. And basically, when we break up the Meta platforms, some billionaire who has ties to 47 is probably going to buy it for about $20 billion in cash. Then there is YouTube, where you are listening or watching this platform, this podcast. It's owned by Google, which is owned by Alphabet. And Alphabet is too big. I mean, they have Chrome, and they have Android, and they've got YouTube, and they're the biggest company in the world. We need to break them up. We need to force them to sell one of their properties. And some billionaire probably right now is right outside of YouTube headquarters, just, with the contracts and the money, just waiting. Turn this into another right-wing repository. And what about some of the other smaller, open source, so-called free speech places? Either they have been already infected, or they're taking a good look at them to see what we can do to shut them down. I may or may not have mentioned something called Neptune, which is a new TikTok-like app, which they're planning on opening up sometime this year. A beta testing with iOS will probably start next month. Beta testing on Android will probably start whenever they decide that we people who are on Android deserve it. And it is owned by people who are LGBTQIA+. Yeah. They'll find some way to shut them down. Some of the others, they'll find a way. Mastodon, they'll find a way. What they're trying to do, basically, is either intimidate the owners or the operators of these platforms to either basically put out and emphasize the approved propaganda, or, we'll pass some law. You see, the thing is that this whole thing is about shutting you up. Both sides came together in a rare show of bipartisanship. We have fires in California. We have flooding on the East Coast. We have kids who are probably going to be harassed. Healthcare is in a mess. Enough said about the price of eggs. But the most important thing, the thing they have to get done before Donald Trump gets into office, is to shut down a platform that just happens to have some ties to China. And what broke my heart on Friday, what broke my heart when we found out that the Supreme Court basically said that the law that would ban TikTok would go through, is that it was unanimous. It was unanimous. Where were all of our liberal judges? Where were all of those free speech judges? Where were they? Sotomayor, Kagan, where the hell were you? Or did you wake up with a horse's head in your bed that morning? Where were you? Whatever faith I had in the United States government, and really the United States people, whatever faith I had in them is gone now. Totally, completely gone. So yes, I have this platform. I also have IG and FB and Threads and Blue Sky and a few others. And those links are in that link tree I mentioned, bit.ly/RadioDon links. Please go there. Follow us and support us. Because as I said, TikTok is low-hanging fruit. And one way or the other, this is not over. Well, as you know, we are recording this on Saturday, and Donald John Trump will become president at 12 noon, January 20th, 2025. The tribulation begins then. There are people who are basically looking at certain things and looking at, well, something might happen between now and that time. Look at the invitations. The invitation to Trump's first inaugural had Trump's name and his vice president's name, clearly stated on those rather ornate invitations. The invitations to this inauguration, less ornate, and does say that you are cordially invited to the inauguration of the president and vice president. No names. Ooh, something's up. I've always believed that unless I see it on company stationery, it's not true. So until something happens, Donald Trump is going to be president of the United States this Monday, 12 noon, Eastern Standard Time. And it doesn't really matter if he takes the oath of office or not. He could be tied up in his bed with a ball gag, and they would have injected him with some sort of sleeping potion or something like that would cause him to wake up around about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Guess what? He's still president. Or maybe even that, because he was, drugged in my little scenario, J.D. Vance would be president of the United States. Talk about going from bad to worse. But that's something that a lot of people don't get. The fact that we think that some things are constitutional, some things are baked into the Constitution, and they're never there. There is no provision about the president taking an oath. No provision for the president to stand on the steps of the Capitol in the deep freeze that is about to hit Washington, D.C. on that day. Donald Trump is going to be president at 12 noon Eastern Time, Monday, no matter what, unless something really bad happens. Well, that actually did happen, really. I am a student of November 22nd, 1963. I remember exactly where I was that day. And I have downloaded many audio tapes of the coverage of that day. The biggest, the most watched thing on my channel is a reposting of Paul Harvey's hurriedly put together newscast of that day. Another newscast, which I probably will have to upload at one point, is from CBS Radio. The names of the commentators escape me at this particular point in time, but one commentator basically was talking about, announcing the president's the president's death, and he says the president could be inaugurated as early as that afternoon. It could be 2 or 3 hours when we are without a president. And the other commentator kind of pointed out that it doesn't matter. He does not have to be inaugurated. That at that particular point in time, Lyndon Baines Johnson was the next president of the United States. He was in office. It didn't matter if he took the oath of office or not. It did not matter if he took the oath of office or not. So if between now and then you hear some conspiracy theory, and let's face it, my tinfoil hat is on snugly. If you hear something about, something is up, and then, Donald Trump will not occupy the White House. They're working on something. No, they're not. He's going to be president of the United States. And nothing is going to stop it, except for death or some weird thing that could happen. If that weird thing happens, I'll let you know. Again, if you've made it this far, thank you. I just have one final thing to say to my fellow TikTokians who are now going to be coming over here to make, quote, content, unquote. And by the way, I don't refer to it as content. It's stuff. It's stuff. If you go in thinking what you're doing is not content, but stuff, I believe it's going to lighten a big load on you. Everything's just stuff. And if you've been listening to this for the last 45 minutes or so, it probably feels like 3 hours. But if you basically manage to get through all this, what this means is that if I can do this, you can do this. Many of you have already been, doing, stuff in front of a camera, content in front of a camera. It doesn't matter what the platform is. You can create great stuff. Much better than this. If there is one thing I want to leave you with today, it is the fact that if I can do this, me, this untalented boob, attempting a podcast, I know you can do a better job than I can. There are things you can do to, make you sound like you're in a big studio with sound dampening and stuff like that. Adobe Podcast. Educate yourself on that before you do a podcast. And even if you don't do anything simply audio, you know about video. You know how to do it. You've done it before. You might not have all of the whiz-bang things that TikTok has. You may not have a lot of filters to make you look more beautiful than you already are, forgetting the fact that God has put a level of beauty that cannot be surpassed in all of us. If I can do this, you can do this. And you can start right now. You can start right now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to bed. I thank you very much for being with us today. Again, you can follow us everywhere on our link tree, which is now, on a bit.ly, so you can easily put it in your browser. bit.ly/RADIODONLINKS. All the places where I am on social, I'm there. And that is being updated constantly. We will talk again later this week. Take care. Bye-bye.